Let's see, Face Boy plays.
Was there ever any like survival type training that you did? Like I gotta imagine, especially because like all right, so when Americans think of Australia, we think of a gigantic desert, and obviously there's the coast. It seems like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like most people live around the coast, and that then there's that huge part of Australia that it's like, yeah, we don't go there.
So pretty much everything that's not on the east coast or the south, like pretty much, there's like imagine a U. So the west coast, south coast, and east coast are all fairly populated. West not so much, and there's one major city up the top in the middle, and there's one city in the dead center, and then everything outside of those is just uninhabitable almost.
There's a city in the middle?
Yeah, it's called Alice Springs. There's not much there.
Yeah, wouldn't think
There's a
so.
casino, and that's about it. I've never been there, but I just know there's a casino from a book I read. That's about it. On the eastern side, like that's where all like the stuff you guys would know, like Sydney and Melbourne and all that.
So did you ever do any like survival type training out there in the outback?
Much in Australia. So in Australia, like you do like all your first aid stuff, and they focus a lot more on snakes and stuff like that. Because like I didn't step on, but I nearly stepped on probably about 5 snakes during navigational exercises and they were like nasty ones too. My mate honestly saved my life probably 3 times. I just didn't look down that much, But when we went to Thailand with one of the exercises, we had like the Thai special forces do a survival thing, and that was loose. He had like snake's blood for us to drink. He had like just the most random shit. And what are the ones with the 2 dots on the back of their head? Is that king cobras?
I have no idea. We don't have those here.
I think they're king cobras. He had like us in a circle, and it wasn't a big circle. And he just chucks one in the middle of us, and he's got a stick. He's just flicking it back to the middle every time it started moving towards the edge. And it was just like, it was loose. He was like playing with all these snakes and that. And he pissed in a bag and drank the piss. And it was just like, this is loose.
Was this Bear Grylls?
Yeah, it's like the Thai Bear Grylls.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
the population of Alice Springs is 25,000. That's a town at best.
Yeah, it's smaller than a lot of suburbs. Yeah,
yeah.
And then in Malaysia there was a survival thing that I didn't do that one, but it went for about 3 or 4 days, and they build huts, and I think they get like a rabbit and they skin a rabbit and eat the rabbit, random stuff like that.
Skin a rabbit and eat the rabbit. Did you see any Thai guys do that thing where they stick their head in a crocodile's mouth and like dare it to bite down?
No, none of that shit.
Oh, that's disappointing.
So like, I always explain the army as something like this. It's like 65% is sitting around bored out of your brains. There's about 30-ish% of like back breaking, shoulder breaking, knee breaking agony of like walking around or lifting heavy shit. And there's like 1 to 5% of like the most coolest shit you'll ever do. So you break that down into days. There's like maybe 2 weeks of the year actually do anything cool. And then the rest of the year you're either just sitting around or breaking your back.
The cool stuff. Like I got to imagine that's when you get to play with like different weapon systems, right?
I've shot pretty much everything the Australian Army has for a normal soldier, not special forces or anything. Just some of the places you go, sometimes you're in the moment, you don't really think about it, and then you stop and you're like, holy shit, it's cool. Like some of the stuff on top of mountains and that. I'm big on mountains, so for me, going somewhere really scenic is always nice. I don't know. There's just some cool shit you do. I need something to trigger my brain to think of them.
Did you get to blow any shit up?
We've used a lot of deck cord when I was in, blowing up trees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Banking claymores. I think the most amount of claymores I've seen being banked up was probably about 15 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pretty big bang when that one went off. Claymores aren't really that deadly. Like obviously you wouldn't want to stand in front of them, but the bang is brutal. Like if you were like anywhere within 50 meters of a claymore and you weren't ready for it, you'd hit the deck. You'd be fucking.
Yeah, it's a real sharp explosion too. It's not that like rolling boom. It's just a pop. It's very, very loud. Anything plastique is, a dead cord's really fun though. Dead cord's one of the most fun things to play with.
Yeah, so pretty much I think the can't remember the rule is, but you do a certain amount of laps around a tree for every thickness, and then you can blow up trees and shit. I shot plenty of Carl Gustav 84mm rocket launchers and seen plenty of javs being shot. I've shot plenty of 66 mil. 40 mils are always fun. They're absolutely. The rule is you got to try and get as many in the air at the same time. So like when you're at the range, you're like, we get next one. Yeah, I've shot the automatic grenade launcher, the Mark 19. That's fun. That's probably the coolest gun I've shot. I've actually got a really interesting story for you. So I've shot a heap of 50 cal, and so we used to be mechanized when I first got in the battalion I was in. So we all had to get trained on how to use the 50 cal. So if we ever quickly get in the vehicle and start shooting it if we have to. But we did a lot of ground mounted stuff as well. So we had it on a tripod, and this one time we did this massive attack, and then we changed position. So I had to do the support position where we were just shooting to the background, while this platoon was pretending to attack up to shoot this other stuff, all live fire. So this was one of the coolest things I'd done at this stage. So this platoon probably had about 30 people. They're attacking towards these targets popping up. They're shooting, just all their normal guns and throwing grenades. We're off to the side, probably about 150 meters to the side, with we had 284s, 266s going off nonstop. We had 2 ground mounted 50 cals, and I think someone shooting 40 mil, all going off into behind to where they're attacking. So obviously it's safe for them. They're not going to get hit because we're shooting but it's to simulate a fuckload of noise, like realistic noise, as they're trying to attack a position. Anyway, so I'm behind this 50 cal because you had to be qualified on the guns to shoot them. And I'm behind this 50 cal and I'm shooting it, and I got about 300 or 400 rounds in. I had the stoppage, and there's different types of stoppages, but this one was called a hard cock. And so what happens is the cocking handle wouldn't go all the way back. It was jammed halfway. And so my section commander came over and started kicking the shit out of it. Like that's actually how you actually get it out, right? So you got to just kick the shit out of it because they're big fucking guns. He kicks the shit out of it, and it finally dislodges the round that was stuck in there or whatever it was. And in the process of this, something happened, and I'll get back to that. So my company sergeant major was standing right behind me. He's in charge of the gun line, and he's like, "Yep, continue firing." I'm like, "Yep, seeing I'm firing now." And I went to shoot it, and the gun blew up. Right, legit, just massive breach explosion, big puff of smoke and just metal going around, and natural reaction, I covered my face and hit the deck, right? It's hard to explain it, but imagine having a tripod going, I don't know, down like that. It's hard to fucking explain it. But you have your feet up on the fucking legs, and your groin is aiming directly at this fucking 50 cal. So your dick, everything's just exposed to this gun. And the breach on a 50 cal is underneath it. So everything that comes out goes down. So when it blew up, I hit the deck. I'm covering my face. My company sergeant major was standing behind me. He's like, "Are you all right? You're right." I'm like, "Yeah, face is good." But my leg fucking hurts. And there's blood coming out of my leg right next to my, right where your femoral artery is. So it's right up in my groin.
Shit.
And it's just seeping out, not gushing, but I was like, it was fucking hurting. And so instantly, we knew something happened, and a bit of the cartridge blew out of the bottom, went in, missed my femoral artery, it missed all my nerves, and just lodged right up my groin. And it was the first time anything like that had happened any time recently. So it was big stop. And then the ambulance got called forward, but the ambulance didn't know where the fuck I was. They went to the wrong spot. And there's this golden hour rule in the military. You're always going to be within an hour of the hospital. Tell you, if I was fucking going to die that day within that hour, I was no way I was getting to the hospital. But instantly, as soon as it happened, pants were ripped off, fucking everything's out exposed. My mate's got his arm on me, his hands on my fucking groin. It's fucking shit was going everywhere. And it's just almost literally. And it was actually a pretty fucking freaky story. And
yeah.
To actually explain what happened, I think in the process of the actual gun being kicked, the barrel dislodged. So the way a 50 cal works, the barrel's loose and it comes back and it gets pushed to the side. And I think in the kicking of it, it actually pulled it center. So it was actually just sitting in there. And when I cocked the gun and put the next round in, imagine that's the whole of the gun and the round sticking out the back. It actually had a bit of the cartridge still sticking out the back. So when the firing pin hit the primer cap, it blew the back of the cartridge out. And the actual bullet of the 50 cal was stuck halfway up the gun with half the cartridge still attached to it, because they actually cut the barrel open on the investigation, and all the other part of the cartridge came out the bottom and into my leg.
Yeah.
So
you just made a little. It's just a little brass pipe bomb at that point. We used to take empty 50 cal hulls, put some black powder in them, put a fuse in, crimp the top, and you've got little mini hand grenades.
Yeah.
And that just blew up right next to your dick.
Yeah. So I missed all the crown jewels, so everything's all good there. But yeah, it was fucking pretty scary moment. And I was
What a terrible way to lose your dick.
It would have been. Yeah.
How'd that happen? Well, my commanding officer, it was kicking the gun I was using, and then I tried to fire it, and now I don't have a dick. Like that.
So initially, everyone was blaming me. Everyone was blaming me, saying it was called a cook-off. So you shoot too many rounds, and the feed gets too hot, and it blows up because like the round goes in, and before it can even fire it, because there's so much heat going through it, it just blows up the round. And that's actually quite common. I've actually seen a fair few YouTube videos of it. Mine was definitely not a cook-off. Like I did nothing wrong, potentially. Like I was only a new soldier anyway, but later on that year when I was in Malaysia, there was another guy. He actually had a cook-off, and he's blew up and actually went into his testicle.
Ooh.
And he was screaming that he was on fire, and no one believed it. Like, because they knew he blew up. It blew up, but he's like, I'm on fire. And they started calling him Ricky Bobby from that point onwards because he had a bit of brass in his testicles.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And I've never met anyone else in the military that had that. It happened to. So.
Wow, what a lucky guy.
Yeah.
Do you get I don't even know how it works in the U.S. military. Like, do you get a Purple Heart or something for getting injured, or is that only in like actual like
the enemy has to shoot you? I think.
No, so you're always covered under veteran affairs and that if you ever get an injury in the military. It's a bit of a process to get all the claims and that in, but once you do have it, you're covered for life. So, for example, my leg starts to play up now, which it hasn't yet. I would have it permanently covered for the rest of my life. Like I've had busted ankles and stuff like that. That's all covered because I've filled out all the documentation for it. Mm-hmm. So if I ever go to hospital and my ankle's playing up and I need to get an ankle reconstruction, they'll pay for it. But you got to fill the paperwork out. It's a pretty lengthy process. You're also covered for cancer, except for brain cancer. There's a few things. Even just as soon as you've served, you get covered for certain things.
Seems like
not brain cancer.
Brain cancer covered.
Well, okay, one of my best mates has brain cancer, and he's still serving. So,
well, we can't afford to cover the brain cancer after all those tests we run on him.
Well, technically, once they boot him out, because he's going to have to get kicked out eventually. There's going to be a point where he's going to lose function to half his body. He's not going to be covered by the military.
That's
potentially. Jesus, that's bullshit.
Yeah, they're paying his bills at the moment, but at one point they'll be like, But the good thing for them is they're using him as a poster boy because, like, this guy's got cancer and he's still serving and doing all this great stuff for cancer, research, raising money.
What kind of cancer does he have? Don't worry about it. It's the coin we're covering right now.
So, yeah.
Is he going to live?
No, he'll die from it.
Sounds pretty bad. Yeah.
So, I don't know the exact name of it. His Instagram's Willie Beating Cancer. And it's a tumor in his head. They can't operate it out. If they do operate it out, what will happen is he'll probably lose function to part of his body, half of his body. Just not sure to what severity. But because he's so fit and healthy already, the surgeons pretty much said, live your life now because it'll be better than being, half paralyzed and not being able to do anything. But he'll eventually either get the surgery done and then have a few extra years, or it's that coin flip. Like, what do? Do you live?
Remember how you said it was hard to get fired in the service? I'd put that to the test, right? Go AWOL, live my best life, which probably involves not working a bunch.
Well, whilst getting chemo and all that, he actually got a really good opportunity to just pretty much taking as much time as he wanted off. Because 1 week of the month he'd have chemo, and then the week after he'd be fucked. Mm-hmm. And then he had 2 good weeks. So the 2 good weeks, he literally just did whatever he wanted.
Yes.
But then he'd be, then back to the chemo week, and it was fucked again. And
he needs whatever drugs they're pumping into Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if she's even still around. Because if it can knock out, stage 4 pancreatic cancer, my understanding, the most lethal cancer out there, it could help with brain cancer, right? She needs to share the load, share the love.
Wait. Maybe Share the Load is our charity.
Share the load. Yeah.
Samwise Gamgee quote. I like it.
Yeah. That's bullshit. That sucks. Man, how old is he? Is he, like you said, he was fit, so young guy? Oh, Jesus.
24,
That's
you said?
tragic.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of my diggers when I was Lance Corporal. I was in charge of him.
What is a digger?
A soldier, I just need trimming.
Okay.
Private. The guys dig holes.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's a digger. He digs holes. Yeah. God damn. I was hoping you would say he was much older than that. 24. That's pretty tragic.
But he could live for another 20 years.
Yeah.
If he lives healthy and they keep monitoring it, it could hit him all of a sudden, and it's not gonna. The thing is, he'll know he's gonna know it's having effect on him because it'll slowly put more pressure on that part of the brain, and he'll slowly start losing strength in half of his body. So his hand grip will start getting weaker, and he'll know it's coming along. So that's when he'll take more drastic actions on what should happen. But by that stage, it could even be too late to get surgery. So,
man, I'd so much rather just get hit by a bus one day and not know, just like you're gone, hopefully
Really?
many years from now.
I'd
as
like a
opposed
little
to
heads up.
Like knowing that it's coming, like, oh, I was trying to do my workouts and stay fit and I couldn't hold on to the dumbbell in my right hand. I thought it was I thought I felt something last week, but no, I thought it was just, maybe a nutrition thing. But oh man, now it's coming. It's coming down the pike and it's not going to stop. That's scary.
he was massive into just partying and traveling, which the traveling part's all good. But now he's actually started to do a lot more meaningful stuff with life, as in he's actually doing the things he wants to do, like, drive fast cars and go do all this cool stuff, because it's kind of just said, well, it's not just about partying now, it's about living life to how I want to live it. And that's kind of how I live as well now. I've been doing that for a while, though. I want to go to Europe. I'm going to live in Europe.
Yeah,
there's a really good song that reminds me of. It's called "Live Like You Were Dying." The guy finds out he's dying of cancer, and it's like, you think he's like, he took a good long hard look at what he's gonna do, and then it's like, and then the chorus is like, he went skydiving, Rocky Mountain climbing, he went 2.7 seconds on a bull name, he went bull riding, like he took that as the initiative to like really start living life to the fullest.
I'd give every drug a go just to see.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Anna Nicole Smith was a bitch. I can do better. No,
what
just me.
What did she die from?
Drugs, right? She OD'd, I think.
I have no idea.
Maybe it's too old.
Well, see, but I wouldn't OD on the drug. I would have my brain tumor, and then I would be like, I'm giving heroin a shot. Oh, that was pretty tits. I'm going to be addicted to this the rest of my short life.
The doctor's like,
meth really stresses me out.
I can see why people like this.
It turns out the tumor hates the heroin, Taylor. We're going to need you to really...
Yeah, just the tumor hates meth and heroin and everything. It's like how one man cured himself, and it's me shaking in the middle of a street in a cardboard box. I'm all better with no teeth. Yeah.
You're all itchy.
Gaunt as fuck. Yeah. No, I'd try that one. I'd want to skydiving. That almost seems cliche, but I would do that if I was dying.
Combined drug intoxication.
Yeah.
Too many drugs.